entered into an agreement in 2009 without having a single acre of land on its fold, without a budgetary provision for this PPP. How can they, without a budgetary provision, how can they meet the viability gap funding of capital grant, viability gap funding of 250 crores? How can they promise 700 acres of land to give the private partner? Then coming to the issues, operational issues. So the municipality, even the senior level of people, executive engineers, superintendent engineers working in the municipality, they are not able to understand the difference between a concessionaire and a contractor. They are seeing the concessionaire as their contractor, but certainly not. Even I told them clearly, very clearly, why that contractor is a different and concessionaire is a different. Concessionaire is the owner of the project for 25 years. So this kind of things we are not able to meet. Number two, unions. We promised to give the existing staff working in the municipal project, that municipal solid waste management, those who are outsourced, given to the fold of contractor. Then the leaders are not agreeing. But virtually there is no difference. They are working under the JHMC, under the contract, because their rights have been safeguarded, well documented. But we don't understand what is the problem with the union leaders. For this, there is another angle. You must have some kind of a political commitment. There is a need to brainstorm the political people. So coming to when we posed the projects to the bank, not only this project, any PPP, I am working with a lot of PPP projects. The banks are questioning this, they are asking this, whether the project is environmentally sustainable, whether the project is the technology is technically feasible, economically viable, socially acceptable, and locally adaptable. You can see these are the jargons. Asking questions on these jargons is easy. It is for me to prove it. Of course, first, environment and technical. I can prove it because we have got, at least on a paper, we have a strong regulation. Pollution Control Boards, Central Pollution Control Board. We have regulations on the paper. Technology, I also have the capacity to convince them. Then coming to the economic angle of commercial viable and social acceptance. Then how can I prove? One side you are putting a cost of 18 crores for a megawatt of waste energy. I have 8 projects on my van on waste energy projects. You will be surprised. One fellow is quoted 10 crores per megawatt. One fellow has quoted 6.5 crores per megawatt. One fellow has quoted for 13 crores per megawatt. And another fellow is that Ramke has quoted 18 crores per megawatt. How can I know? How can I process? Which figure is correct? So, this kind of a forums can also have some kind of a light throw to have some kind of a work cost baselines. Not for exact, at least some kind of an idea of the baseline cost for a technology, whether the waste energy or the compost or whatever it is. Unless and until there is no templates on baseline, it is very difficult for the municipal people to process this kind of the projects for taken. All these, whatever I am talking is also responsible why the PPPs are not moving forward in this particular sector. There are some other issues I am not able to. It is not good for me to share with this kind of the platform that everybody knows it in the Indian governance. Then, if I want to prove If I want to prove the economically viable and socially acceptable of this project before the bankers, my bankers or financial institutions, the state governments or the ULB. ULB itself can make its policies as per your 73rd and 74th Amendment. They have to come up with, first of all, most of the ULBs don't know the actual credible data on MSW management. They also don't know what is the characteristics of their own waste, except they say that municipal solid waste is my property. That is one line they know. So they must know we have to ask them or mandated them whatever manner it is feasible or practicable. They have to select some kind of a technology based on their property. Then the state governments are also must have to come up with their own policy of the waste management. Most of the state governments, they do not have policies. What is the strategy of the MSW in their own state? Now we are talking of, previously we used to talk 3 hours. Now the people are talking of 5 hours. They have added 1 or 2 hours are resource and refuse. Refuse in the context of ban of plastics and all those things here and there going on. Some governments are banning the plastic on paper for below 40 microns. So whatever manner this thing, we are talking about all the intellectuals are talking about the 5 hours, and the state must come up with its own policy of addressing the 5 hours. Then once I know my quantity, my characteristics, it is easy for me to decide whether I go for a PPP, whether I go on my own, or whether I go on with some participation of NGOs. Then legal recognition to the rag pickers, social concerns. We have a very huge number of, in Hyderabad itself, we have 70,000 families living in rag picking. When they pick up the papers, highly combustible material of source and end root segregation, and they are taking away 8 to 10% of the total waste generated, then what is the calorific value of my waste remaining for my waste energy plant? So when I go for a PPP for this kind of a huge project, I must be able to integrate or mainstream the rag pickers with a legal recognition. Number 2, source segregation. We are all talking about the source segregation. Yes, it is a prerequisite for successful implementation of any kind of a processing technology. Then the municipal solid waste rule, source segregation is already clearly mentioned. But most of the bureaucrats, whenever I go, they are questioning me, whereas the mandate. I told them that forget about the mandate, you can come up with your own mandate. Then coming to the construction and demolition waste. Of course, some municipalities are now coming up with separate transportation and processing facilities. Then coming to the RDF. RDF is a very important element if these projects are to be commercially viable. At the moment, we don't have any kind of standards to check the quality of RDF. Till we develop our standards, at least there are standards developed by the American Society for Testing of Materials. We can use that as well. The only thing is, wherever a large-scale PPPs are framed, the concerned state governments must come up with the use of RDF, at least 10% of the intake of coal as a mandatory in all the cement kilns and other boiler-based industries of the state. Because while processing the MSW, you will get 20 to 30% of the RDF. It will give the economic boost to the private operator. Then coming off the bulk generators. Fees for bulk generators. Most of the state governments are framing guidelines for a separate fee for the bulk generators, but in actual, nobody is paying. So some kind of a mandatory provisions, the state governments must come in this field unless and until this sector will go on like this, and we will meet here and there and discuss this kind of the brainstorming sessions. Finally, I request the organizers to document the successful stories for give the solutions for the short-term goals, and as long as the long-term, you must concentrate on the brainstorming sessions for the municipal staff, particularly in the middle level, and the politicians, corporators, and councillors, and the private sector also. The PPPs are also. They are also sailing in the same boat. One fellow will come up with a tipping fee of only for processing of units. Some other fellow will come up with a tipping fee. But actually, if we can ask, they don't know how they put the particular figure. So they have to come up with an actual workings. They have to do a lot of homework, and before quoting the tipping fee for this kind of projects. I will take one example. So I am telling you, so many public PPPs, while dealing with them, they are not able to quote. Of course, my friend will not agree. They are not able to structure the project in a financial mode. In any private sector, in infrastructure projects, when the PPP is mode, that financial structuring, they will quote one, first they will prepare 3 quotes. One is the actual cost to cost to implement a particular task. Then the second is the quotable cost. They can add 10% or 15% or 20%, whatever it is, ROI, what they want according to their own financial norms. Then they will add it to the actual cost, and that is the quotable cost. Then the third one is the loaded cost. The loaded cost will have to take care of all the hidden costs. Hidden costs.
Mr. Rao, we'll discuss that in the panel.
So this kind of the practical issues have to be taken into account of this kind of forms. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rao. And the last point that he made, we will have that in the panel discussion and ask for response from Mr. Chaurasia. And regarding the documentation of practices, I'll not speak about it, but we are documenting this whole conference, and it will be put on YouTube just in case you're scribbling your pads for data. It'll all be on in video, so that's not required. And due to this, generally when panel goes over time, they cut the time for questions, but we'll not do that. And we will still have 15 minutes for questions and 15 minutes for panel discussion. That means that the lunch time will be cut a little bit. But if someone's very hungry, they can go ahead right now. And so I invite Mr. Mistry to conclude the session.
We have arrived at the ending time of this session. Within 5 minutes, I will conclude. We have heard about the holistic concept of environment, warning if environment is not protected, and reasons why we are damaging, depleting this environment and generating pollution. Then we heard about the specific problems of Mumbai, Assam, Jaipur, PPP model, and difficulties in implementing these MSW rules. Looking to the issue of Mumbai, Assam, it seems that population explosion and urbanization, infiltration, evasion of people at certain places, and it was also stated that there is no land is available for the waste deposition or the treatment. To this serious point we have come. It was also criticized that municipal authorities are not doing as per expectation, and we receive complaints from public that so much waste is accumulated here. Order is coming, like that. Everybody in all states, I think we are facing this problem. Even Pollution Control Board was also criticized that what are they doing? Yes, it is true. They do. But what they are doing and why they are not doing something is also to be understood. But one thing is certain, when we have made law, we have to implement it. And suppose people are not implementing, then what should be done? That answer is also given in our ancient philosophy, but I think we have forgotten that. When laws are made and people are not following it, again golden advice is given like this. Agrataha chaturo vedaha. O people, these 4 Vedas are in front of you. This knowledge is kept before you. Agrataha chaturo vedaha. All advices are here for you. But suppose you will not follow it. Paschat shashrodhanuhu. If you will not follow the advices for the welfare of you, then paschat shashrodhanuhu means there is a bow and arrow, means punishment will follow. And therefore in our all statute books we find last chapter as penalty and procedure. Act is made, rules are made, all provisions are stated, and the last chapter is penalty and procedure. Means if you will not follow these rules made for you, made for our coexistence, then see penalty and procedure also there. We had one event with a CNBC channel a month before in Gandhinagar. So after such type of deliberation, one person asked that why there is a difference that if private company or private industry commit offense, you are prosecuting them. And if government companies or government authorities violate the rules applicable to them, you are not prosecuting. What is the reason? Question is correct. Let us see the perspective of these MSW rules. MSW authorities in Mahanagarpalikas are mostly commissioners, IAS officers. In Nagarpalikas, we have say 160 Nagarpalikas and some 10 Mahanagarpalikas, IAS and bureaucrats are there. If criminal prosecutions are instituted in the court of law for the violation of MSW rule, how they will feel? And will government allow? We have some IAS and IFS officers as the chairman. If we have to prosecute them, is it possible in this country? Government has made some procedure. If one government department has to institute any legal matters against the another department of the government, don't go into the court directly. Come to the high-level committee formed at some chief secretary level. Discuss the issue, tell them, resolve the problem, understand difficulties of each other, and then proceed. So this applies break or some difference between the approach with the private institutions and public institutions. And therefore, the implementation of MSW rules seems slow. But it does not mean that we have to drop it. We have to carry out the discussions with them. See, our Ahmedabad Municipal Corporation has declared a project to make Ahmedabad Municipal Corporation of zero MSW waste by some 2030. They have made MOU with some companies who will make Ahmedabad where daily 3,600 metric ton of MSW is collected. So they have declared their plan. We ask plans with other Nagarpalikas and Mahanagarpalikas that how they will follow this MSW rule and make the cities waste-free or wasteless. So rate of treatment should be equal to or rather more than the rate of accumulation or generation, but this is not found. So legislators have to observe all these things and find the solutions. Simply criticizing will not give any solution. It is not giving also. So this is the difficulty, particularly with MSW rules, because there we have to deal with the government authorities. Government authorities will become accused. Nobody will like. Will government with higher authority will allow it? Therefore, the best solution is to conduct the discussion with the high-level committee in the government and carry out. The government is always ready. Government is ready to give fund also. See, our government was giving fund to GPCB, Gujarat Pollution Control Board. But after my arrival, I wrote a letter to the government. We do not want a single coin from the government. We do not want any budget from the government. Budget is required for, say education and health department. And we are self-sufficient. The letter is written. So, we are dependent on our resources. Now, most important point I would like to say, if any representative of MOEF is here. States are collecting water cess under the Water Cess Act and rules. And they have to deposit every month by RTGS to the Government of India in the consolidated fund. Whatever amount is collected is to be deposited to the Government of India every month. But law is also there that 80% of this fund collected by the central government is to be reimbursed to the states for their working of these boards or implementers of environment laws. But let me say, this is not regular. We regularly deposit every month, lakhs of rupees every month. But 80% are not being reimbursed to the states. Suppose some poor states, how will they carry out their fund for the implementation of environment laws? And despite government is making some riders over that you cannot utilize this fund in that and in that. There should be liberty. There is no such rider in the law. 20% from each state is for the central government that they should receive. And 80% should be returned to the states so that they can do implementation of the MSW rules, or there are more than a dozen rules under the EP Act. So great implementation is required. So if this is done regularly as per the expectation of, I don't say they are not returning, but they ask many questions. Where will you expend? Have you deposits in the court? You have sufficient money. So first utilize them, give utilization certificate and then ask reimbursement. Suppose I have no money, how will I incur expenditure? If we have money, we will incur the expenditure. So this difficulty is there. We are discussing it with the central government in one such conference of all chairmen and MS of all pollution control boards at Delhi. This question was asked to the then environment minister of the center, that is it not possible that all states retain 20% with them, 80% with them, and every month they will deposit 20% to the central government? The honorable minister said yes. He asked secretary, oh, why? Is it not possible? But this question has remained there with the full stop. So I would like to request to the MOEF and central government that please regularly, as states deposit water cess every month to them, also please reimburse every month 80% to the states. This will help us in implementing all these environment laws, including MSW rules also. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Mistry. And so the panel has ended. Sorry, the panel will start now for 15 minutes. And after that, anyone who's hungry can please go ahead and get their lunch. However, we'll still have another 15 minutes of questions. And so let's start with Mr. Rao. So he ended his talk saying that there was a disagreement between him and probably MOUD about financially structuring the projects in for municipal corporations. So if you could start with that, then we can start the panel right here.
You wrongly understood my thing. I have not said the MOUD is responsible. I said the responsibility of the private people while structuring the projects.
Project structuring is basically at the ULB level. All is required that they should frame so that it work in their local condition. We don't have interference to that level. Often during scrutiny we used to add our views, but we don't have any objection if they are happy that this is going to work there. We are supportive to that their structuring.
See, the urban ministry has provided all the documents required. Very recently they also come up with a very good document of strategic dealing of MSW, including from the collection to the disposal. And they have also come up with a good strategy how the public and citizens engagement can be done. They have given a broad structure of strategy also. And they also came up with 4 volumes of particularly on the PPP with the assistance of ADB. And those documents are also available in the website. They have clearly dealt with the emergence of PPPs and types of PPPs and the present list of PPPs in the country, and the structuring of projects are also available in the website of this thing. What I wanted to say is the literature part and the rule part is already available. So many literature is available, so many rules are there. Only thing is the implementation part, the municipal people who are the responsible for the implementation of the projects and the private sector who are also entering into the bigger projects to take forward this concept, they must be sensitized in an appropriate manner and coupled with the politicians. They are the ground level political executives who has to support this kind of initiatives. Unless and until I got the standing council approval of anything, the commissioner has no powers to implement it. Everything I have to go for it.
The waste marketable, so that public intervention like PPP, the P is one P for public, should be reduced to possible extent. So make waste marketable, so it will not remain waste, and the market will take care of it.
See, waste market, actually, see, if you can see, it is not neither the municipality's hands nor the private hands. Because the market of the waste byproducts has not yet matured. Once it is matured, the economic cycle of the market will take care of it. Till it is going to be matured, we have to discharge our respective roles.